Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, HP Reinvents Large Format Printing Again. A few housekeeping items to mention before we get started with today's webinar. All attendees are on mute. If you have a question for me or today's webinar presenter, please send it through the question section on your GoToWebinar dashboard, or you can use the Raise Your Hand feature to ask your question verbally. You can access the question box by clicking on the plus sign next to the question header on the dashboard. To access the Raise Your Hand feature, click on the hand icon that is also located on the left side of the GoToWebinar dashboard. We will then unmute your line, and you will be able to ask your question. Questions will be held until the end of the presentation for the Q&A session. Today, the webinar will be presented by Thomas Giglio. Thomas currently manages business development and sales activities for the new HP R series printers. He has 28 years of experience in the graphics and image market that encompasses digital printing, screen printing, distortion vacuum forming, display fabrication, and color management. Without further delay, let's begin. Thomas?
Well, thank you, Anne. Good afternoon. Bienvenue. Today is a great day to talk about some of our new technology. It's the new HP Latex R printer series. That's going to be the subject that we'll cover today. And very few times in the course of our lives in our industry does a product come along that has as meaningful impact, and over the next course of years will have an even more profound impact on the industry. So here we are in 2018. 2018 is 10 years of our current HP Latex technology, which was launched in Düsseldorf at Drupa in 2008. Some 50,000 printers later, we find ourselves announcing a new technology here just recently at the International Science Show in Orlando about the Latex R printer series. So we've taken our latex technology, we're bringing that to a rigid platform, being able to print directly to rigid substrates, as well as an increased number of flexible substrates. We're very, very excited to announce this disruptive technology. And with anything with HP, we hope that we have the success that some of our previous products had. And the way it's looking now, I think we're well on track. So without further ado, let me go into the session. And then, like Ann said, we'll be able to answer some questions at the end. So if we take a look at the market segments that exist today in rigid printing, there's really three distinct segments. The first one on the left side is entry or production, where you have a very low capital or acquisition cost, but you have a little bit of a high cost per copy or per square foot, per square meter. And on the right side, you have an industrial space where it's basically about 300,000 US and higher pricing. You have a very high acquisition cost and a low cost per copy. Some of these products are very, very expensive. And then in the middle is kind of where we find our new technology. We call it the R2000 Plus. It's a 98-inch printer, and it falls in this production segment. It's a segment that we haven't existed or played in for a number of years. We have some competitors here that print a little bit faster, some print a little bit slower, some print very high quality, but we compete at all levels. We feel that in the production space, that we're going to see some migration from the entry or production printers that you see on the left side, where people will want more throughput, they want higher image quality, they will want some more features, some more ease of use. And then conversely, we feel that we're going to enter into the industrial space because we are so specialized. We have so many features with this technology that other incumbents don't have right now. So, for example, you have some FE machines or some Durst machines on the right side of the screen that don't handle white ink as well as we do. So we see the adoption of our printers in that space augmenting current installed base. And I think once those users will see the benefits of the R2000 Plus, they will go ahead and make that the standard for their printing. At least that's what we think that's going to happen. So if we take a look at UV-curable printers today, and that's the existing technology that exists, there are some really strong challenges. The first one is the smell of ink. For the print service provider, for their customers, for their operators, the UV ink smell is not really good. It's not good on various levels. One is hazardous air pollutants, VOCs, and just really not very friendly to deal with. So by introducing latex technology on a rigid platform, we're able to carry on some of the hallmarks of our latex technology being water-based and not having any smell. Subsequently, with our new technology, we've eliminated gloss banding. Gloss banding is an effect that is kind of like when people mow their lawn and they go in one direction and another direction. It's called a lawnmower effect, where you actually see the distinction of passes that the carriage makes on the print. And with the technology that's existed in latex plus our new ink, we've eliminated gloss banding. And the next two really go hand in hand. That is a choice point that users are forced to make with UV, where they either have to choose, do I want a high color gamut or do I want adhesion? Because you can't have both. Usually the printers that have higher gamut with the abilities to hit reds and oranges and blues and greens, when those products are finished, the ink ends up cracking or peeling or actually experiencing very minimized durability. So, and then if durability is the requirement, which it often is, then there's a very strong inability to produce those bright colors that people want. So really that's a choice point. It's a very pronounced pain point. And that's something that we've been able to really harness with our technologies. We're super bright colors, but we also offer the durability. Some of our competitors actually have 4 and 5 different ink sets where they force people to choose a happy medium. So we're very excited about our ink. And because of that, we can color match. We can color match not only on rigid materials where it's never been seen before, but we can color match through various campaigns. So if companies are requiring campaigns that both have rigid and flexible product, we're able to color match between those two mediums and do it very well. And then we're all doing it without the recourse to have to print and mount. We don't want to actually have to go back and print on our roll printers and mount just because we can't achieve certain things like in UV. UV forces people to go back and print and mount for certain things. So if we take a look at latex in our last 10 years, like I said earlier, we've delivered and installed 50,000 plus printers. Our market share is good across the board. But even more importantly, what we're doing is we're enabling our customers to print more pages. When they print more pages, they are more profitable, and they can keep reinventing their business and growing their business. But the reason I like to use this graphic is because when I look at the left side, I look at the common applications that people use today. And if I were to equate that with growth, usually that's about an 9% growth compounded annually. So year over year, people grow by 8 or 10%. But if I look at the applications on the right, which really have never been done before on a hybrid platform, a lot of the decor stuff like wall coverings and canvas and window blinds and things, okay, that grows at about 24 to 30 times, or 24 to 30% year over year. And that addressable market is considerably bigger. So as we continue to introduce new devices, okay, we want people to grow their page volume. Really, that's what it's all about for us. And we feel with this R series platform, users will not only be able to do the work they have today, but they'll be able to secure new customers and new applications. So the biggest breakthrough with Latex R series is the ink. With latex ink, we have to evaporate water, which is the vehicle that moves the ink through the system. And then we have to cure that resin or that polymer. And we're able to do that about 50 degrees Fahrenheit less than we are today. And the way that we do it is that we've separated the fluids into 3 different aspects. The first one is our water-based pigment, okay, which the water carries our pigments. And then we have an overcoat which protects it. Okay, now the overcoat exists today in our current printers. We just split it out into its own channel, if you will. And then we have an optimizer. And our optimizer goes down and secures our colored particles where we want them to drop. So we are in pretty good shape with having a very durable ink that provides excellent color and excellent durability. Okay, whereas our competitors, like I said earlier, force people to make trade-offs. Do you want adhesion or do you want color gamut? Because you really can't have both. And if you print on different types of material, you really want the material characteristics to come out in the ink. So for our printer, if we print with a glossy stock like an acrylic, we will have glossy appearance. If we print on a matte material, we'll have a matte appearance. Same thing goes for elongation and flexibility. UV ink is very rigid and it's susceptible to cracking. And we have very good elongation and flexibility under several circumstances. And our cost is substantially lower than UV inks today. So if we look at color for just a short moment, we'll talk about gamut. And gamut really for any printer is good when you can hit a higher number of Pantone or specific colors. And with some competitors that we have here, you can see that we're almost double the number of Pantones that we can hit. To quantify that, if we look at a lab slice of gamut volume, which is the colored blurb that you have there, we have 3 distinct lines. We have a line that is the blue, which is the furthest most line, which is our gamut in the R2000. Mamaki and pretty much most typical UV printers is found by the yellow designation. And then the red is actually the Osei ink that provides their greatest adhesion. So you can see if you had to print Coca-Cola, McDonald's, or any of these logos, they all fall out of that red gamut. And only one of them falls within the yellow gamut, which is the most probable for UV. So we're hitting colors for the first time that have ever been achieved direct to print. And that's one of the strong suits of our product. And that's really been one of the nice barriers we've been able to overcome, is the ability to deliver vibrant colors. Additionally, we've been able to generate and resolve fine text. It's always been a challenge with UV printers because UV ink stacks on top of itself and has a bit of a texture. The standard of the industry has been the Osei Arizona for years and years and years. And we're very happy to say that we're resolving text, as you can see here, which is not only comparable or better, but we're doing it at a significantly higher production speed. So let's talk about white ink for a minute. You know, white ink is another barrier that people and print providers have trouble with over time. And that's for a number of different reasons. The first reason is that white is made from titanium dioxide. It's a very heavy particle, and it likes to settle in whatever fluid it's in. And being that we use water, you can imagine that our fluid will settle to the bottom just like any other pigment. Okay? But we have lots of technology behind that to overcome those obstacles and trade-offs. So we'll get to that in a minute. But over time, currently UV ink white ink turns yellow. And the reason is that they have to use technology and chemicals which are often yellow in nature, and they're hidden with brighteners. Once those brighteners fade away, then you see the yellowness of the ink. It's kind of like having a neon bumper sticker. It's only neon for a short period of time, and then those brighteners wash away, and then you see the true color of some of the chemistry in the ink. Same thing is with white ink with our competitors. Okay? So our white stays white over time. It's very glossy. It's a true white. And then we like to call it on demand because it's automatic maintenance. When white is in flatbed printers, it always has to say moving. It always has to say purging. And if you don't use white a lot, which a lot of people don't, maybe 1 or 1.5 jobs out of 5 are used with white, then you're consistently purging white and throwing it away. Okay, with our system, we have what's called macro-recirculation, where we have 2 bladders that are inside our ink box. And those bladders actually circulate ink through the machine to the other bladder and then vice versa. So that white ink always remains moving and those particles never settle because they always are in motion. So that's our macro-recirculation. We also have micro-recirculation where the ink actually is in the printhead circulating at its own rate. So in between every nozzle that we fire, we actually have a pump in the nozzle plate, and between every printhead that constantly keeps the white ink moving, even within the printhead. But the real problem is not so much when you're printing. The problem is when the machine's sitting idle. We have an answer for that too. We have an offline rotation chamber. So when users are not using white, they can immediately remove the printheads and put it in this rotation chamber. And then it stays in the rotation chamber until you're ready to use it again. Printheads will come out of the rotation chamber, be inserted back into the printer to resume printing. So there is 0 waste when these printheads are in this chamber. The chamber is going to rotate from time to time, every few minutes, just to keep the white agitated within the printheads. And this has been one of the huge differentiators that this platform has offered to our customers, and it's been received extremely, extremely well. So let's talk about metrics for a second. You know, this is a picture of a Formula One race team, and you can see the car is, you know, blurring by there however fast it's going. But the more important thing is how many engineers here are looking at that car. And we've engineered this printer with the same mindset. We've engineered the printer to be a smarter printer. The printer has a lot of artificial intelligence built into it. It has a lot of telemetry built into it and sensors, okay? So that we can predict maintenance based on certain algorithms that are in the printer. So the printer is actually smart enough to understand, based upon the sensor information, when parts may be between their failure rates, or maybe when something isn't producing at its optimum value. So that is really a good feature for our customers, is to deliver those alerts through those tools. The other part about it is we have, through our print operating system, our own print ecosystem, we have a Surface Center application, and we have a couple other apps, if you will, that allow our service team to remotely diagnose problems. And it also lets our customers monitor their fleets, so they can understand their uptime, they can understand their downtime, how long printers have been down, they can understand what kind of jobs they produce. And these are all real-time metrics, just like the engineers are looking at the real-time metrics for that race car. So we are so happy to be able to deliver this printer. You know, my experience over the past number of months with this printer, we've had a couple issues with our printer, but we've actually been up and running super, super quickly because our engineers can log into our printer and understand what the issue is and correct it. So far so good for such a new platform. And as I said earlier, the versatility with the ink set that we have, the retail, the signage, the decoration, one consistent ink set, great colors, great gamut, the ability to match lots of Pantones, whether it's rigid or whether it's flexible. We can put flexible media through here as well, and even wrap cars and things like that with it. So our versatility with the ink set is phenomenal, and our customers have been very, very happy with that. If we take a look closer at the R2000, you can see that we can print up to about 1,000 square feet per hour, or about 25 words. The printer has automatic maintenance, like our legacy flatbed products, and can run unattended for flatbed use. But it's an industrial printer. It uses 5-liter inks, 3 for white, and it's designed as a very robust industrial platform. The R2000 Plus is the unit that's scheduled to ship in September. Like I said, the technology was announced in March at ISA in Orlando, Florida. And then the printer itself, the first public viewing was not too long ago. It was May 15th in Germany at FESPA. So the R2000 Plus is the full loaded version, if you will, where the white upgrade kit, the roll printing kit, and the extra set of extension tables ship with the printer, and then the service coverage is actually a 18-month model. So again, a couple new twists to that, but so far so good. The press has received the product well. The beta customers that have our product have received it well. Our pipeline is very strong. Our excitement is high. As you can see, when we did a NDA preview of this at ISA, this is a posting from Signs 101 where we non-disclosed some people. And this gentleman here said he was blown away. It was revolutionary, stunning, and I couldn't produce the last one because it wouldn't be appropriate. But again, this is the view that we want people to have of our products. We want people to understand them, get close to them, ask questions, get answers. And as you can see, this person was very, very excited. So we're riding on that positive energy. We're very happy that we are able to have a product like this. They don't come around very often. And we'll see where that goes. But we think it's the next frontier. It'll change a lot of our customers' lives for the good, and a lot of their customers as well. So I'm very excited to talk to you about that. I appreciate the opportunity today. With that, I will open it up. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Thank you, Thomas. As I mentioned, we have a couple of ways that you can ask questions. You can either ask your question through the question section that is located on the dashboard, or if you'd like to ask your question live to Thomas on the air, you can click on the raise your hand button. Once I see your hand go up, I will unmute your line and you can ask your question live to Thomas. Thomas, we have a couple of questions here. Let me get started with the first one. Now, John, if you're listening, I'm going to unmute your line. You have a few questions here, which I think are very interesting, and I just would love for you to ask them on the air. John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, John.
Can you hear me?
With your questions. Yes. I can, yes. Perfect. Welcome.
Yeah, one of the materials that we're looking for this is a 100% polyvinyl clear material. What is the temperature that the machine is running at now?
We're curing at 100. We're curing at 149 degrees Fahrenheit.
149 Fahrenheit. Okay.
Yep.
So how thick is the
material?
It's 75. It comes in two thicknesses: 35 mil and 75 mil.
Okay.
And it comes in 10 by 50 foot rolls, 10 foot by 50 foot rolls, which brings up another question. Is there a heavy duty take up for a 320 pound roll?
There's not 220 pound max right now.
Okay. The other one is we're printing 4 colors in flood coating with white on top for second surface printing. Does the application allow us to go into this mode to be able to print that way?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Perfect. All right. All I need is a heavy duty take up now, and I'm in good shape.
That's right. That's right. They're smaller rolls.
Thank you, John. I will mute your line now.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going through the list there, Thomas, just see if we have other questions. Okay, I believe that was our last question for today. Thomas, unless you have any closing thoughts, we'll end it for the webinar today.
No, I appreciate everyone taking their time out of their busy day. I know that's sometimes tough to do, but really excited about this technology, and I would encourage everyone to visit our website if you'd like to learn more. And hopefully you all have a very good day and rest of the week.
Thank you, Thomas. On behalf of everyone on the line, thank you so much for taking the time today to do the webinar. We really appreciate your insight. And everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to send them to info@sac-ace.ca. That's info@sac-ace.ca. A copy of the recording will be emailed to everyone after the webinar. On that note, thank you so much and have a great afternoon.